Let me start with something interesting. Schools today are trying to prepare students for the future driven by AI, robotics, coding, and automation. But the reality is, most institutions themselves are still trying to understand how to bring these technologies into the classroom the right way. Not because school don't care, but because teachers already carry heavy academic pressure. Institutions struggle to identify the right technology partners, and many solutions in the market are fragmented, unsupported, or built without long-term academic structures. So the real challenge is not intention, it's execution. And that's exactly where companies like DIYA Labs are stepping in. Welcome to the Success Playbook by Expertrons and Shine. Joining me today is someone who started building in the space long before coding and robotics became mainstream conversations. Udhay Shankar, founder and managing director of DIYA Labs. He started this journey way back in 2013 when very few schools in India were even thinking seriously about robotics, AI, or experiential STEM learning. Today, DIYA Labs has worked with over 250 plus institutions, impacted over a lakh students, expanded across multiple countries and built structured ecosystem combining curriculum, hardware, training, and technology to deliver future tech education at scale. Uday, really great to have you on the show, and I'm sure it'll be an amazing conversation today, and we'll get to learn a lot from you.
Thank you, Jatin. Pleasure being here.
Thanks a lot for that. And let's begin from the start. What made you enter the space so early, especially when future tech education was extremely niche in India?
So I would say my personal experience. So just imagine I was in my college second year and I got a scholarship to go to Australia. And there, a girl who was barely 8 years, 9 years old could do something which I could do as a second year student in a college. Huge gap. And the best part was, this girl was from a tier 2, tier 3 place in Tamil Nadu called Chidambaram. So if a girl from Chidambaram could do this, what is stopping the rest of us? Opportunity. And that is what led me to create something like DIYA so that this opportunity, what a girl could get overseas, every child in India can get.
Wow, this is amazing and so inspiring. But where do you think institutions like are struggling most today? Of course, I mean, in the space of STEM education.
See, primarily, I would say there are a couple of things. The first one, in terms of what to teach, what product do I choose? How do I evaluate if the child is learning or not? That is proven and systematic is very, very important for the success of a program.
True. At the same time, of course, something clearly seems to be changing. Parents are talking about coding early, schools becoming more open to experiential learning. Even NEP 2020 seems to be accelerating in this direction. Why do you think this is kind of coming as of now, and like what is driving the shift?
Today, I'm sure you'd have at least one conversation about AI. Not every school had a computer lab. That is the future. So future is going to be every school is going to have an AI and robotics lab. And like you rightly said, the move from the government and initiatives like the Composite Skill Lab, the computational thinking and AI syllabus. So these nudges towards preparing children for the future so that when they enter the world of technology, they have the right foundation. So every college is going to work towards creating such center of excellence.
Interesting. No, that makes a lot of sense. So a lot of institutions have tried implementing robotics, coding program over the years. Where do you think the implementations actually break down?
So if you see, many a time it's about the choice of vendor. Now let's just say you go to someone, the initial setup cost will be heavy, so they make the money, and after that, if you don't find them, it just becomes a museum and not a lab. So I feel the first one is the choice of vendor, and second, implementation. So we need proper hand holding, and even expo like where a child can present, parents can see, any way we can assess. It can't be a regular pen and paper kind of an exam, right? Systematic process is what is most important with the right tools.
Sure. And before we go deeper, help me understand the scale you have already built across institutions and markets.
So I'm happy to share that we worked with more than 1 lakh children just in the last 1 year. With just one school we started, but today we're with more than 250 schools across 10 states, and we're happy to be serving children across 10 countries through our online programs. We also export our kids to Australia, to Singapore, to Malaysia. And beyond that, companies like Intel, they trust us for the CSR projects.
Oh, amazing. And What did DIYA Labs decide to do differently?
The first thing is we thought about what a child should learn. Second, at what age, what has to be taught. And third, how it has to be taught. So traditionally, what would happen is you would get a kit and then design the curriculum. But what we did, we designed the curriculum first. And since we have the capacity to manufacture, we designed and made our own kits in India. So we have done backward integration to ensure that a child will have successful learning. And we've divided start from the basics all the way till their final project. And we also made sure that we work only on open source platforms.
So, Uday, of course, like over the years, DIYA Labs have gotten certain recognition, certain awards. We would love to know more about like how that has progressed and like what kind of awards has DIYA Labs been given.
So we've got the Best Tech Education Institute Award. We've got Excellence in Robotic Education, Excellence in Futuristic Education, some of the good ones, and more importantly, something which we hold close is the Most Promising Business for Women.
Amazing. I think this is, I mean, the awards just speaks about the quality of work which you are executing at DIYA Labs. And I'm sure it's just the beginning and there are much more recognitions and awards to come for DIYA Labs. Also, how does the child's progression look like? Like, of course, they have to, like there's STEM learning and there's much more going on in the whole process. Their communication improving and a lot of these things happening. But like, how does the progression looks like?
Right. So we divide children into 4 groups. So group A is basically grade 1 and 2, B is 3, 4, 5, C 6, 7, 8, D is 9. So based on learning capacity of a child of that particular age group, we have created our own syllabus mapped around that. So a child in first standard will build some basic models. For example, make a car and add basic electronics to it. For example, how does the car honk? Switching on, switching off headlights, as simple as that. So very, very fundamental stuff. So we start from helping children to build their own autonomous robots, starting from an automatic vacuum cleaner to a robot that works in warehouses to a smart wheelchair. From there, we go one step up. We get into embedded systems, make their own washing machine, their own automatic street light or traffic signals, a prototype of a nuclear reactor. From there, we go into 3D modeling and printing, integrating 3D printing with robotics. From this, we go into group C, where we take them one step higher, where they work on walking robots, robotic arms, which does all the pick and place functions in factories. Group D, we go into IoT with this Internet of Things, so that they not just work on decision making or intelligence with AI, but are also able to execute control with IoT. So this way, not just at school level, even in colleges, we have all the way until 180-hour programs.
Wow. No, amazingly put. I think there's a lot of things which you have covered in this progression journey, and each of these are, of course, very interesting, and I'm sure it progresses with the age of the child and expertise level of the child. So really good to know this about the labs.
Perfect. Thank you.
If I'm a parent, what does my child actually experience inside the lab?
Sure. First and foremost, we talk about domains. Now, when I talk about robotics, it is all about where that robot can be used in the real world. I'm going to make this robot using this, and my robot is going to solve this problem for this person. So what we do is, first, we help the child to see a problem. Like any entrepreneur we say, right? First, identify your problem. Second thing what we do is, we make the child come up with possible solutions with the given resources. Then third, evaluate solution. Fourth, try the prototype. Keep trying, because robotics won't get it right the first time, right? The best part is, once they come with the solution, they have to present the solution to their peers. They learn not just technical skills, but they also learn essential life skills. So when we say we make children future ready, we work with holistic development with robotics as a platform.
Wow. No, makes complete sense. At the end of it, what actually changes for the student beyond just technical exposure, because it's not just about technical exposure. So
okay. So Jatin, I'm sure you've seen kids these days, right? So if you go to a child and say, switch off the light because you have to save power, do you think the child might listen to you?
They may not.
They may not. Child is going to make a robot which in the application is to save power. At a subconscious level, you're actually teaching the child that we have to save power. So this way, We make them think, how can I use my knowledge and a skill to help someone, to make something, first thing. And second thing, now let's just say I talk about speed equals distance by time. It's a formula. But the same thing, if I tell that, this is the radius of the wheel, you find the circumference. Then you find out the RPM of the motor. And now you tell me how much time a robot is going to take to come from this end to that end. They're going to apply the formula. Consumers of information, we transform children into critical thinkers and people who can implement what they learned and what they understood. And with this, they will never forget the formula because they learned it by applying it.
True. Very well put. So I'm also curious about how this actually scales. Like, how does the lab reaches students across cities and institutions?
Sure. So first, we partner with people. So people who would like to, say, take this program to schools, take a franchisee. So we primarily have an at school program, an after school program, and an online program. So for us, the majority has been at school and after school because that is where we'll be able to impact maximum number of children. Right now we offer franchisees of our business wherein about education space, those want to prepare children for the future, that is the tech-driven one, as simple as starting their own center or taking their own exclusive zone so they can reach out to more schools and build their business. It's already tried and tested and proven. It's going to be more of a plug and play and a guided approach for them.
Yeah. No, amazing, amazing. Who tend to be the right or the ideal fit for you to become a partner?
So first and foremost, definitely Jatin, for us is passion. So education is a complete passion business. If there's genuine passion to impact children, yes, this is the business. And second is in terms of being full-time or completely focused on the business. It demands lots of time and attention. Third is patience. It's a compounding business, but as you know, compounding takes time. Patience to be in the business for a while. Fourth, if somebody is already having some institutional connects, that's an add-on, but it's not mandatory.
Interesting. How early are we still in this market? Like, does it feel that the category is still in its early expansion phase?
Actually, it does. Now, for example, you take comparison with preschools. So if you take for every 10 schools, there's hardly even one academy teaching robotics, right? And if you take tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4, the ratio is even small. Though the number of students is 3 to 4 times, the ratio of number of centers is hardly anything. So we're still in the early stages, a long way to go. And right now, there's inbound demand from the institutions to offer co-curricular programs. We're going to make sure that the program is successfully implemented and children are going to learn what is meaningful.
True. No, this makes sense. When you look 5 to 10 year ahead, what are you ultimately building DIYA Labs into?
See, for us, this is all about how many children can we impact. So that way, we want to reach at least 1 crore children looking to become a 100 crore plus business, but not just us. We're looking at building through partners. So we're looking at least 100 partners across India whom we'll join hands with to make sure we impact this 1 crore.
Amazing. Also, like, of course, founder's journey is a very a lonely one, and there are some experiences which kind of keeps you going. So are there any awards, recognition, or any testimonial, any customer experience over the last so many years which you feel kind of keeps you going every single day?
Sure. In our early years, so we had a place in outskirts of Chennai. So there, a child enrolled with us. The child would not speak, would not mingle with others, would not do anything. Just come, sit there as if, she has nothing to do with what's going on around her. We always make sure that our children present what they kind of learned with a live demo. A child who would barely speak, would not interact, was presenting her project in front of her peers. The mother was literally in tears. And that is the moment which I felt, yes, I'm doing something that has real impact, because what is the value of a mother's tears of joy?
Yeah, no, amazing. I think that because it's a huge impact you've created in students' life who are actually learning from the Arabs. Let's do a rapid fire round. I would now, of course, expect some quick answers from you on the rapid fire side. We can do a little bit of like fun rapid fire round now. Um, One skill every student must learn today.
Being creative and communicating.
Amazing. And the biggest mistake parents make about education.
Thinking it is a bit too early for the child.
Interesting. Coding versus creativity. What matters most?
Creativity, because even coding takes creativity.
Wow. One country doing experiential learning really well.
So I'm sure all of us would agree with Japan.
Interesting. DIYA Labs in one word.
Experience.
Wow. Wow. No, amazing. I think, Udhay, you have put it in a very interesting way, and of course, got to learn a lot in this episode from you. Would love to, of course, like anyone who is kind of entering this field as of now, any new entrepreneur, anyone who is kind of looking to kind of enter in the STEM learning space, what would be your top 3 advice to them? Like what should they look out for? What should they solve for? What should be the skills they should be having? So what would be your top 3 advice to anyone who is entering this field?
So first thing would be to understand and choose the right product. Second, understand how working with schools is, because you need to understand timetable, you need to understand lab availability, you need to understand the resources. Then in terms of how a child's journey is going to be like, which we'll talk about what happens month on month. And finally, look at an avenue for a child to present themselves. And more importantly, tons of patience.
Very interesting. I think you've put it in a very beautiful way. Also, one interesting thing about your business that like the way it operates is that there is a recurring nature to the business you are in. Can you elaborate on like how does that business operates and how does that kind of compound for anyone who is associating with you or becoming your partner?
Perfect. So just imagine this just like a parallel school. Now, we offer robotics and AI education as part of the school's curriculum. Main point is, I want to do this, but can someone do it for me in the right way? If required, providing the teachers, giving the curriculum, the LMS, international certification from UK, US, Singapore, and Australia. So we package it as a price per child per annum. So this way, what happens is, it becomes a recurring revenue for our partners, because every year the child is going to go to the next grade. Similarly, even our curriculum will go to the next level. So the business keeps recurring. So we have about 20 different levels across multiple age groups. So we have children studying with us for almost 3 years and 5 years, and they come every week. So because they know the next level is going to be something new, something exciting. So this way, once a customer is part of they at least 3 to 5 years, they're with us, and they see possible and good impact in terms of transformation in children.
Yeah. No, amazing. I think very, very well put in terms of how it is actually causing the impact. In terms of the certification, because you also mentioned that there are multiple certifications which you have. What can a child expect? Because one is the learning part, the experiential learning part, the overall experience. Other than STEM learning, they are actually presenting, communication, they are actually getting creative with it. So they're doing a lot of that. But also in terms of the outcome is the certification part. So can you also elaborate more on like what kind of associations do you have? What is the outcome for a children who is learning from your programs? And so if you can highlight on that.
Sure. So our courses are internationally certified from the UK, USA, Singapore, and Australia. Just like there's a BIS or a hallmark for the products. So our certification benchmarks our program at international standard.
No, makes complete sense. They are not only able to kind of learn STEM learning, are able to get auxiliary skills, like they're actually getting to communicate themselves, like use their creativity, but are also getting a certification outcome. So this is actually really well for the overall development of the child. What stands out from this conversation is that the future of education is not just about adding technology in classroom. It's about creating the right systems, support, training, and implementation models that actually deliver meaningful learning outcomes. Because schools want to evolve, teachers want to support, and parents want future-ready learning. And maybe the real opportunity lies in helping all three move forward. Thanks, Uday, for like joining us today and kind of sharing the whole process of how DIYA Labs is kind of enabling all of this, and I'm sure all of our listeners would have learned a lot from today's episode. This is the Success Playbook from Expertrons and Shine, and thanks Uday for being part of this episode.
Thank you, Jatin. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.